Hello, Emmanuel. Good to see you
How are you
again.
doing today?
Good, good, good.
All
I'm
right.
good. And you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I can't
Great.
complain. So, so let's just get right into it because we hear a lot of times multiple streams of income, how to, manage all of that income. But I want to hear from you to say, what is multiple? What the concept of multiple streams of income, what is it even?
Well, basically, it means that one earns
Mm.
money
Yeah.
from multiple sources, from more than one source. So if one is a salary earner
Yeah.
from a particular place, one also explores other opportunities to generate money.
Mm.
And even organizations are advised to, even NGOs are advised to. In fact, we recently started a training series on resource mobilization for civil society organizations, but basically it's talking about multiple income streams. We've heard of diversifying the economy since we're growing
Yeah.
up. Yeah, so story for another day, whether it has really worked at the national level or
Mm.
not, but we know we're still struggling with the mono economy. So
Yeah.
so this is saying at the individual level,
Yeah.
don't stick to a mono economy. Look for other ways of raising money.
Yeah.
And in plain English, it means exploring low-hanging fruits, exploring trusted or credible opportunities
Yeah.
to raise money. And it could include using your talent.
Mm.
You can keep another job where you work for 1 hour, 2 hours by remote, providing services to an organization or some kind of service somewhere. It could
Yeah.
be that you're running trainings 1 hour a day,
Yeah.
and people pay you for that. It
Yeah.
depends on what talent you have, what skills you have, what you're able to do with your hands. It could be that you also invest, and we encourage that a lot. And there are several investment opportunities. Look at agro, for instance. Maybe near you, there's a farmer who doesn't have the money, maybe needs another 400K or something to be able to buy fertilizer,
Yeah.
and he's sure of his yield, and that you will get your money back. So
Mm.
you throw the 400,000 naira there, wait for 6 months. He harvests, he sells, she
Gives
sells
you your
and
money.
gives you your
Yeah.
money back with some kind. So there are different ways of raising income, from what you would do yourself to
Yeah.
what you would commission others to do. And
Yeah.
there's so many around us, because we're encouraging even children to do that.
Hmm.
I finished paying my own secondary school fees, and
You
I'm
paid
not
it
from a
yourself.
yes, and I'm not from a poor background, and but I because I was working.
Yeah.
I worked even as a child. I worked on Saturdays, and I earned. So I started contributing to buying my books.
Hmm.
And eventually I had enough. I was contributing to the family income even as a child before I was 13.
Hmm.
Yes. So we tell young people there's so many things you can do as well
Yeah.
while you are in primary school, in secondary school. Yeah, so many things you could do with your hands. And when we engage young people, we realize they have a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
In fact, they tell you things you can start with 0 naira. Kids, from hairdo to car wash to,
A lot of
things, yeah,
things.
a lot
Yeah.
of things. So
Yeah.
why not us who are older?
So I feel like, we talk about multiple streams of income and whatnot, but isn't it like preferable, say you focus on one niche, yeah? You just keep focusing on that and grow it and all of that. Why is it important for individuals to have more than one source of income? When you
Okay.
can just like focus on one, I feel when you focus all your energy on that one, you grow in that one, you become an expert in that field instead of like,
Mm.
spreading all of that.
Okay, so I worry a little bit. I think we have a clarity issue
Yeah.
here. I've seen this a lot. I run an entrepreneurship development institute. I engage with so many business development service providers almost on a daily basis. So we see this all the time. In fact, even business owners like us also have that issue
Yeah.
sometimes. Yes, it's it's a yes and a no. It's good to focus one's skills, to hone one's skills in particular areas so that you develop some level of expertise. They say that if you're able to devote 10,000 hours to a particular thing, you become an expert. I know that has been debatable over
Yeah.
time, but the fact is, if you focus a bit of time on a particular skill, yes, it's good. If you're distracted, if you are spread too thin in terms of your head is in different spaces at the same time, you get to achieve, you're less productive.
Yeah.
That's the truth. You're less productive. But that's not exactly what we're saying when we're talking about income streams. It's not exactly the same because income streams are several opportunities that may not even involve what you do. There are people who actually just make money and use the money to invest to make more money by just putting in other business. Some of the richest people in the world, that's what they do. It's not everyone.
And shares and all of
Bonds.
that. Yeah, bonds.
So many things. Exactly. So you could put your money into something. It doesn't mean it's taking all of your time. It doesn't mean it's taking all of your time. You can get into a partnership with another person, collaborate.
Yeah.
And you could start a business with someone else, and that person is the face of the business, and you are in the background. Okay, so I think maybe the two words we should use here are residual income. Residual income. So if you're building
is residual income the same as passive here?
Yes, that's the context that we're trying to bring in.
Yeah.
So you have investment in something and you don't have to put in a lot of effort and some money is coming in for you. So that works. Now that way, you're still focused on building your career, you're focused on building specific skills. Excuse me, you need 20 hours to become really good at something.
Yeah.
Just 20 hours.
20 hours. And
yes, to learn a new skill and be good at it. You may not be the expert.
A new skill, yes, 20 hours, 20 straight hours.
Well, 20 hours. You could spread them.
Okay.
Into 30 minutes a day, or I'm also a personal development coach because I'm learning myself, right?
Yeah.
And there's a way you could break it down to granular details and just have them in different sets of time. You're aiming high, but you're not looking, when it comes to personal development, especially for new skills, don't focus so much on the end goal of you can now speak Latin, you can drive that truck.
Yeah.
No, take it from, that's the goal, but take it from this week. With 30 minutes per day that I'm putting into this, I'll be able to turn the key. I will be able to remember 5 words in French. I can say 3 sentences. So that way you're building on it. Otherwise, it can be discouraging. It'll be very easy to plateau. And you could plateau out of frustration because, oh no, it's becoming too hard because you're taking on so much, or somebody discourages you or something. Anyway, that's a story for it. So you could take 20 hours. Well, just let's say it's an expression. You could focus your time on building a particular skill that you want. So that way, yes, you're not too distracted. You're building on one. The brain has the capacity to take so much more than we're giving it. So I have a colleague, Anne Isa, who studied biochemistry, first degree. But after that, she came back to Nigeria with 3 master's degrees, including marketing, including, things.
Biochemistry.
Absolutely. Things that are very different from what she's done. Then the HRM in my organization, Omoye, studied physics. Then also did a master's in physics, specialized in acoustics. But then she went to the Teachers Institute. She has a passion for teaching and, started applying herself there. Then she worked in a company that gave her the opportunity to do human resource management. It was just starting up. So she didn't have that skill. She didn't have the background. She didn't study it, but she's a meticulous person. There's some innate skills in her. She has the flair for it too. So they said, oh, please just handle, HR stuff. So she started reading up on her own and they exposed her to some trainings.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the multiple skills that she has and she's earning from each of them. So the point is, in both situations, neither of these individuals did everything at the same time. It was one after the other. So that's something to also keep in mind. But trust me, any day, anytime, I will tell you to consider multiple income streams from the very granular level of, oh, okay, I've been able to, I have 150K somewhere. That's at that really low disposable income level. Okay, I will get a measure of sugar, get a measure of gari, tie it, put it on the table in front of my house or something. That's still business. Anyway,
No
right?
matter how little it's something,
No
yeah.
matter how exactly. So, and that doesn't take too much from you, especially if you have a structure around that micro business that is not too disruptive to your work life or whatever else that you're doing with your time. But there's so much more that we can.
How can there are just several misconceptions about creating additional income sources,
And
how
this
can
is one of
yeah, it's
them.
one of them.
Yeah.
So let's bring it to the 9 to 5 industry and all.
Uh-huh.
How can one with a 9 to 5 job create that passive income and all those other multiple streams of income? Considering the fact you go to work 9 o'clock to 5 p.m., you come back, all of that time, how do you like invest it wisely and build that additional stream of income for yourself?
So probably it's a conversation we've not really had or amplified, but truly, yes, the typical worker, either public or private sector in Nigeria, is seen as a 9 to 5 person, so
Yeah.
there's no time for it. But the truth is, we also keep multiple jobs.
Good.
We absolutely. I lived in Lagos many years. In fact, many times I said we grew up in Lagos. In a typical Lagosian would close from the office. I've seen this on the mainland. I've seen this on the island. I've lived in Ikeja, commuted through Maryland, that stretch. I've lived in Ikoyi. I patronized Obalende a lot. There was a time at the office, colleagues would say, "Hey, let's slum it tonight." And slumming it means going to eat the mama put at Obalende. And some of the pots get on the fire from 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.
The cooking starts from 9
Absolutely.
p.m.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh,
And
yeah, they say Lagos, the city that never goes to sleep. So
well, let me shock you. In Abuja, Lagos Street in Garki is exactly the same.
hmm,
It's exactly the same. You get there, Lagos Street, when maybe we're running programs or whatever is going on in Abuja and we've not had time to eat or we get into town late. Where would you find freshly cooked on Lagos Street? That's just one of them. There are several other spots like that. And if you check, yes, some of these individuals mainly do that as a business, but you also find people who do 9 to 5 jobs. Now I'll go back to my Lagos example because I have seen that. I am an eyewitness to individuals who have day jobs or office jobs and they finish from their offices and they're laying out, it could be like Ikeja bus stop or wherever, from 5 or 6 p.m. They're laying out stuff on the ground for maybe it could be clothes, thrift, it
yeah.
could be shoes, whatever it is, they're trading until maybe 9 or 10 p.m. So that already tells you we do not only have the capacity, it's been going on in this country for decades,
So
but
we are capable of doing that. We just haven't tried.
absolutely. And I told you how I even started work. I worked on Saturdays. So it didn't disrupt my schooling. So if I had a 9 to 5, I could still do something on a Saturday or a weekend. So I think many times we delude ourselves with, oh, it's 9 to 5. Where will I have the time? I have to get up early to make that 9 o'clock. Then when I close, I commute and all that.
I'm gonna digress more.
And sorry, by
Look
the
at
way, we have digital entrepreneurship, which is something we also teach, and I am passionate about, and I encourage everyone to also explore it. It's everywhere. We're already doing it. Even young people are.
I know this is a training you do, but
Yeah.
would you like to use a few minutes to tell us what this digital entrepreneurship is,
Okay, I'll just talk about some of the elements.
Yeah.
Just to bring it home. Sometimes even on TikTok, you see people advertising, oh, you are on your phone, you could, I'm not advertising TikTok. I'm just saying, a lot of these platforms out there, so many of them, could say, okay, you're on your phone anyway, so you can earn by being on your phone by still scrolling and watching videos. A lot of the platforms do, and I've mentioned it. So there's
digital earning from
a lot
digital platforms.
Yes, they do. So that's an example, but that is not just digital entrepreneurship. It doesn't end there. It's about e-commerce, affiliate marketing, exactly. That's one of the easiest, like the lowest hanging fruit that anybody can learn to do. There was So well, basically that's sort of the package, but it also has several elements and it presents several opportunities. A couple of years ago, I think like 2 years ago, my teenage son and his friends came to me in the office and said, "We want to work for you." I said, "Okay, great. What
Little
can
man
you
wants to start
do?"
making money.
Exactly. What can you do? Though in secondary school. So they said, well, anything. I was like, great. Okay, so let me tell you what we need digital skills. So it doesn't matter your age, we will pay you. I worked as a young teen as well. So we would timeshare so that you have time to play, time to school and all that. Go and learn anything, graphics or anything you can do with your phone or a laptop. Anything at all, even whether it's videography, photography, the web design
Yeah.
or graphics that I mentioned, anything at all. So there are a lot of young people who are already earning.
Yeah.
There's a kid called Longji Ayuba. Google started paying him when he was about 11 years old. He's Nigerian. Google started paying him when he was about 11 years old. In fact, when I heard about him and met him, I think he was almost 12. And I was told, you know what? The car that is used to take him to school, it was his money that bought it. Yeah, so from 6, 7, as young as that, he would play around with computers. His father was into tech, and he noticed the little boy loved to know stuff and do stuff. So he encouraged him. And he designed an app when he was between 9 and 10. Well, by 13, he was already lecturing 300 level students studying computer science at university.
Wow.
Before he even got to secondary school, he was already earning. So when you talk about digital entrepreneurship, there's so many things that can go on. Even though in his case, like the app was popular. I mean, it was Google that noticed it, search engine optimization. Well, he was noticed and it was useful. It was traffic, and they started paying the young boy for every download. And we in 2015 we did an education summit, and it was for kids. The oldest was probably maybe 16. And one of the questions we asked was, if you earn,
Yeah.
especially with digital skills, come out, and like 20 kids came on the stage.
Kids.
Yeah,
Secondary
kids,
school.
secondary school kids. So that's talk about digital entrepreneurship. There's something called Kids Code Club Africa. It's non-profit. It's just brilliant young Nigerians coming together to encourage young kids from ages 9 to 15. Longji is one of the lecturers anyway. So I've seen these kids in 2 years design websites that I only dreamt of. Like literally, I visualized our agro e-commerce website looking like a certain thing with visual appeal and functionality. And these kids were able to display things like that. So that's
I'm going to ask a more specific question now that applies to those of us in this industry, the media industry.
yeah,
All them journalists that work 247
yeah.
behind all those the camera guys behind the scenes,
Mhm.
that their job requires them 247, right?
Huh.
How would they manage to create this multiple stream of income? How would you advise to diversify and create that multiple stream of another stream of income, basically, when your job requires you to
You
be
to
there
be
247?
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I just shared with some colleagues a couple of days ago that back in the early days in AIT, I basically worked 7 days a week because I was a program producer. I had to do my recce, had to go look for guests, then go record, then start post-production 10 p.m. on Friday for a program that was going to air on Sunday. And I kept editing till it was, about time. So that's 2-4. So I can totally relate to that. It's very simple. What are the options? Just pick a sheet of paper and rule a line in between, or create 2 columns. So one column, write the things you can do if you have time to make money. Then on the other column, however you want to place it, write things you can do or you can put your money in. So that's where we talk about investments, and they are available. You need to
We are talking about how someone who works a 247 job can
Mhm.
create that additional source of income.
Yeah, so it's basically to do a laundry list of areas of interest and to speak to the right individuals, and to also observe personally, because uh, he who has, it's a principle, he who has the most options controls the situation.
Mm.
So don't limit yourself to only one option. You would have observed from neighbors, from family, from friends, from advertisements that there are opportunities and there are
Yeah.
options out there. So list them, then explore those that you may not know about, but you have to have an interest. Basically, if you're working 24/7, that means you will not have the time to be able to do that other side hustle to get the additional cash. Even though I'd like us to talk a little bit about the 247 bit, but uh, the no-brainer is the fact that the best option for you will be to put money into, and trust is the most expensive currency. So you reflect on no one. I had a cousin, an adopted sister, who had actually worked in a block industry and understands how it really works. So I wanted her to manage the business. That was somebody I identified that I could trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so to my colleagues who are doing 9 to 5 or 247, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
if you don't have, like me, if you don't have an individual you can trust, you don't have to get into the venture yourself.
Yeah.
You can give somebody the money. You can also get into, you could do drop shipping, actually. You could. You could join cooperatives.
Yeah.
You could join cooperatives. You don't have to be physically present, but you could put your money there. And especially like the village loans and savings, you could. It's an investment. So they give out small, small loans and they give you something. So, it's like shareholding in a way. Yeah.
When they give out the loans, your money,
Well, yes, at the
profit
end of
comes
the
back.
year, yes. So there's also farming, but it depends on what is of interest to you. If some kind of e-commerce, for instance, maybe you can empower someone you know and you trust. I'll buy you the laptop, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, I'll buy that. This is what we're going to be doing. You have the talent, you have the skills. So you do it, but this is what you give me. Now, I am investing directly in you. So maybe monthly, there's one of our cohorts is into recycling and it's plastic recycling. And he makes 6 million in a month.
In a month.
Yes.
Plastic recycling.
Yes, now in a yes, yes. Yes, he makes 6 million in a month. So, and he said if he improved and optimized his capacity, it would be even more than that. And he was able to pitch and impress investors. So, people like me and you who are cooped up in studios, all day or some kind of office, you could look out for opportunities like that.
Yeah.
If you seek, you will find. It's not just in the holy books, it's actually purely scientific thing. It's like the law of attraction. If that's what you really want, it will come to you. The universe will bring it to you. So somehow you will find, you begin to hear, if that's what is of interest to you, you begin to hear conversations, maybe from your phone or on TV or radio or in a car. People will start talking about it, and you begin to see the options you need to explore. There's so many, really.
Getting started, it's not usually easy. I mean, a lot of people there are common mistakes that people make, when you want to start multiple stream of income. Yeah, I want to have another stream of income. You just rush in, there's a new venture. I want you to tell us now from your point of view, what are some common mistakes that people make when trying to create an additional source of income?
Because the first one is the risk analysis. Most times we're not patient enough to conduct a risk analysis, and it's very simple to do. I didn't know until I got into it and even started teaching it, and I realized, it could be further simplified. Just ask what could go wrong, and just do an impact probability matrix. So just rule a set of lines and say, list the items, what could go wrong? Maybe 3, 4, 5 things could run away with your money. Maybe it's a high risk business, fire can catch the whole place. Every business has a risk, and you also have the risks that are internal to you, from your own personal SWOT. You trust people too easily. If that's something, just list them. As mundane as some of them may sound, just list them and begin to ask yourself, so what's the probability of this one happening? High, low, medium? If it happens, what's the impact on me? Then you can narrow down to, it's scientific. It's a simple exercise, but it's very scientific. You narrow down to risks you can or should take. So one thing is, we don't take that moment to even think. We get excited. I mean, I have made some investments that I incurred colossal losses, like beyond 100% losses. So I'm also speaking from a place of experience and knowledge. Yeah. So sometimes we get excited. Sometimes the referral is exciting. This is somebody and the person says, yeah, do this, it works. Look at me, I'm a good story and all that. Then you jump into it. Take your time and do a little bit of risk analysis, and please avoid, because if you do the risk analysis right, it's going to bring all the elements and all the possibilities that you and I will discuss here tonight. Because one could be that you went in too fast. You just rushed. You didn't do a due diligence to be sure, to check the credibility, the viability.
The SWOT analysis.
Exactly, yes. You have to be a little bit of a theorist in a way when you're going to venture into any kind of business that is a bit methodical. Like, has it been done? What are the testimonies? Do the background checks to be sure this is viable. If it's totally new, if it's an innovation that you're taking a risk in, then you already know what it is. But yeah, so sometimes I think we make that mistake of taking the plunge without just taking a moment to reflect on the possibilities. And, things that are outside your realm of control, like if you're doing a SWOT, the threats, opportunities and threats are out of your realm of control. And opportunities are good and bad trends within the market or the space where you're operating. So let's say you're operating a business. Let me just digress a little bit. And let's say it's a water business, and there are other water businesses. Then something happens and all the other water businesses leave town or something. It's not a good thing for the market, but it's a good thing for you, because then for a minute you actually have monopoly, something like that. Yeah. So that's about opportunities, but threats are also completely out of your realm of control. So you have to also consider, what are the threats? And, when we're talking about multiple income streams, we're talking about Naira and Kobo. We're talking about demand and supply of stuff. So you also need to consider this. Maybe somebody tells you, fabric business, bros, just give me money, I just finished school and very convincing pitch. And this person is available. They will do, all you need to do is provide the money, they will buy them. But probably there's no market for it. You probably even take out a loan. This is good, man. I will be getting 500K every month. Then you borrow some 10 million somewhere and completely tie down the cash, your time, and everything else. Because maybe for 2 years, nothing sells. Because, demand is defined as the goods and services that customers are willing, able to pay for. Many times in business, we consider what they would like. So we think there's a market for it. You think that there's a demand for it, but the demand is really a demand if they're willing and able to pay for the goods and services. So these are things we also consider as we consider multiple income streams. So multiple income streams also do not have a ceiling. It could be ₦1 million. It could be Dangote say, hey, come, buy shares in my oil company. And the minimum, shares you could buy will be $100 million or whatever, So it could be that. Or it could be your next door neighbor that you've developed a relationship with and there's trust. And this person is doing well. The business appears to be growing. There is a demand for whatever they're doing. I did that one time. I was kicked out. So we
kicked out.
yes.
What happened?
We encouraged we empowered this young lady. She was 19 at that time. We asked her what she wanted to. She didn't do so. She didn't get her combination in her WAEC, so she was at home. Usually you have to wait for another cycle. So we got to, short of the long story, we asked her how much she needed, and she said 3,005. Was it 3,000? Yeah, or 3,000. It was 3,000. So I said, are you sure it's 3,000? She said, yeah, it's 3,000. This was some years back. So when I explained the business, you understand what I mean. It was rice. So she went to the market, cooked, yeah. She went to the market when we gave her the 3,000, bought 1 million of rice, 1 fish. They cut the fish for her, bought her small seasoning, bought oil, onions and stuff, and cooked jollof rice. I went to a place that had a demand for it. There was it was like a quarry, but some kind of, it looked like a construction site, but it was where there were lots of laborers and a lot.
Demand was
They were willing and able, and she had good pricing. In marketing, you do the 7 Ps, started with 4 Ps. Exactly. There's even 12 Ps, some different theories, but yeah, those Ps. So they were willing and able to. So she had the right place. She had the product at the right place. So by the time she took the rest, she was selling for 100 naira.
How many years ago was this?
Well, this was 2013.
Okay,
2012, end of 2012 into 2013.
That's a long time.
Yes, that's a long time. That's a long time. So she sold for 100 naira. Then if you want fish or meat, 50 naira. So she'll put on top. So when she came back that day, she said, Auntie, please keep this for me. It was 1.7. So when she finished from there by midday, she had sold out, just branched the market, bought another measure of rice, bought the fish, bought the meat, still had some oil, still had some seasoning. The next day she brought 1.5. That was the least. So I just picked a phone box. I was like, let's see where this is going. I dropped it aside. The next day she came with the least was 1.5, but it was always between 1.5, 1.7. In 2 days, she had made back the 3,000. So I traveled for some outreach in Benin, and while I was away, my adopted somebody in the family said, we ran out of gas, so we had to borrow money from you. Right? I was like, really? She said, yes. So I said, okay, so how much are we refunding? She said 19,000. I was like, wow. So when I came back, I said, I got to a microfinance bank, picked up a form and said, you know what, you'll be saving in the bank, no more in the little cartons, phone boxes. So bank, fill out. And I was amazed in about 6 months, the column that has requests or has the individual write how much you make, the income at the end of the month. She wrote 32K. And for that time, that was not bad. That was more than what graduate employees doing 9 to 5 were earning. Wasn't even up to that. So from doing 1 measure of rice a day, she moved to doing 1 bag a week.
1 bag of rice.
Yes. 1 bag of rice a week. She had a few ups and downs as well. There were different insecurity issues, different things happening that disrupted that, but not for long. And she didn't give up. So for the past 6 or 7 years, she's situated around a huge company that has about 600 workers.
Mm.
Yeah, a branch of the United Africa Company, in one of the states. And, so she's able to position her business well. She has good prices, so people keep coming back, and a few other things that
The
are.
business has expanded now.
Yeah, so good. Now that's where I got kicked out, where the story comes in. So I said that I said she's probably earning. I mean, I'm a consultant, so sometimes I wait. There could be months of nothing coming in, then something comes in. So I said, but this is good. Like, this is steady and it's growing. So she has a Thanksgiving in church, and I was invited and all that. So after the testimony, it really got me thinking. I said, can I buy into the business? I mean, what do I need to do? Let me invest. Let me just have, I was serious about it. Let me just have something coming in at the end of the month. So it was someone who said, please, Auntie, just.
Yeah, fine. They're not looking for shareholders.
They're not looking for shareholders. So this young lady was able to see herself through school. She was able to employ two of her older sisters who were graduates to work for her while she went to school. Yeah, yeah. She went, she did her papers again. She paid by everything for her, by herself. She's finished her
So
A levels. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She's not married. She has a kid, and business is still growing. And last year, she visited me with her husband and her kid, and she came to say thank you and make a request. She said she wanted me to attend a pitch meeting for her to provide catering services to a recycling company that wasn't too far from where she was already situated.
Yeah.
So that's already expansion. And I went and she said, please, if I wouldn't mind, I should make the pitch. So we fixed an appointment, met the manager, and we made the pitch, and they agreed. She said, look, she'll provide the food. They don't have to pay, just deduct from source. Very smart girl. So that way she doesn't have to deal with people not paying. She doesn't have to, no drama on the street, like they bought my food. Yeah. So, and she's just growing and expanding. There's hardly anything this young lady wants that she cannot buy for herself from 3,000 naira seed money.
She was consistent and she knew what she wanted to achieve too.
Yeah. She
So
was.
a lot of people give up on the way.
Exactly.
So
exactly. And the consistency, that's quite important.
It all comes down to, like, say, willpower and the individual.
True.
Because entrepreneurship is not easy.
It's not a bed of roses. It's not a bed of roses. There are several business environment issues that affect all businesses, big and small. Some are common issues, others are not. For instance, electricity is a challenge in the country. Several other things, movement, roads, different things are challenging. So they face, the small and the big face some commonly, others are akin to smaller businesses, but so if you don't give up as well, but maybe we'll talk about that later.
It's all right. I think it's been an interesting conversation this evening, talking about building multiple streams of income. How can you build multiple streams of income for yourself as a busy professional, as an individual? I think our guest has done justice to that topic. You need to, do your research, of course. You mentioned SWOT analysis and all of that. Just have a goal in mind you want to achieve. That's basically it. Consistency, of course, is key if you want to achieve your set goals. Thank you very much, ma'am, for speaking to our audience. And I'm afraid we've run out of time. Hopefully,
I was just getting started.
You were just getting started. I see that. It felt like you should. I felt like please don't stop talking. Well, I was picking one or two things for myself.
Great.
It's been an interesting.
I will ask you when I see you next time, and all the studio guys, what other income stream have you explored?
Yes, we have work to do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And we've come to the end of today's program. Join the conversation on all of our social media handles. What have you learned? Do you have any questions for her so that the next time we see her, we can tackle some of these questions? And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel. My name is Emmanuel, and I've been doing this with Mrs. Canning.
Or just Canning is
Mrs. Canning is a public affairs analyst, a media entrepreneur, a consultant. She's into a lot of sectors. So anything, she's in the best position to answer you. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be all for today.